Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to the first Monday in 2022. That's so amazing to say, but God is amazing too, so I'll just leave it there. Go ahead, grab whatever you may need so that we can go ahead and get started, because to be honest, this could kind of be a little bit longer of a message than normal. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, action. I feel like earlier this year I may have made reference to a dream that I had last year and said that in time I would share its contents with you. So here we go. In September of 2021, I had a dream that I died. I remember distinctly what happened in that dream, and I remember waking up and looking at my Fitbit and seeing that it was 12:22 in the morning. I panicked, immediately thinking that, oh my God, I'm going to die in December 2022. No, I'm not psychic, fortune teller, or anything like that, but I leapt to Olympic-sized conclusions in that moment. I remember texting my pastor, my senior pastor at that time, and telling him all about my dream and listening or reading as he comforted me and reassured me that my dream may not have been what I thought it was, but that in time God would reveal what my dream meant. He said the 12:22 may not have been December 2022, but that my life could change in 12 months and 22 days. And it did. I do want to point that out, it did. He said that it could have meant anything, even as simple as it was 12:22 when I looked at my Fitbit. I'll be honest, I did not know what it meant, and even though I had peace in that moment, there were times where I began to wonder. And one of those times was last week Monday, when December vibes kicked in for me, and I felt overwhelmed in a way that I can't even begin to describe. I should start by saying that December has always been a hard month for me. Ever since 1996, when I lost my last surviving grandparent, December has been a very, very difficult month for me. I still sit now in ways of trying to heal from it and surrender everything to God so that it no longer has to be a struggle. And that's where I am this year, asking God to walk with me. So maybe that's what 12:22 meant. But I digress. So as you can most likely hear from my voice, I have been a little bit under the weather. And as I sit in that, I have to just think of how good God is. Today is December 5th, 2022, and yesterday, my pastor preached a word that stood out to me so greatly that I'm going to put a link in here for you to be able to get to it and listen to it on your own. But it caused me to ask the question, or to make the statement actually, God, this is not the life I had planned for me. When I was younger, I envisioned the way my life would go. I envisioned that I would be a beautician and a pediatric neurosurgeon and a therapist, and that I would have, elements of ballerina lifestyle. I would be married and have kids all by the time that I was 32, because that's how old my mom was when she had me. So I was going to be done with my childbearing by that time. I can boldly say that at the age of 36, none of that has come to fruition. This was not the life that I planned for me. Never in any of my 75 million occupations that I dreamt of did I ever dream that I would be an educator. I did not foresee educating teens on business education and being a mentor and role model to teens, sharing my story to people around the world and telling them about how God happened to me. I did not see myself standing behind anybody's pulpit lecture and being a preacher. nor did I ever envision that I would be here with you today and so many other days, sharing life lessons and revelations that God has given me. No, beloved, I never saw myself as an educator. Yet I realized something, and it makes total sense now, today, on what my dream meant back in September 2021. That in order for God to do the things that He needed to do in my life, in order for Him to make a way and to provide for me as He knew that He could, the only way that He could do that was to completely change my life, get rid of any thoughts that I may have had, and place me on the path that He had created just for me. Beloved, there had to be a death to the old me. The way that I lived my life, the thoughts that I had, the people that I was around, all of that had to go. In hindsight, I see now that since September 2021, there has been a lot that has changed. Some people who were in my life back then are no longer in my life anymore. Places that I used to go, things that I used to be able to do, food that I used to be able to eat, it's not like that anymore. Relationships that I was in, both professionally and personally, they aren't there anymore. Everything about my life has changed. There had to be a death to the old me. In order for God to rule and reign, we have to let Him, right? In order for God to make a change, and in order for anything to be new, in order for a baker to make any item, something has to change. An egg has to be cracked. Evolution must happen in order for growth to happen. Another thing that my pastor said today that stood out to me was that I cannot grow close to God in a crowd. There has to be a death to the old me. So today, as we prepare to end out 2022 and get ready for the cliche saying of New Year, New Me, I implore you to start that new you today. I implore you to lay down and surrender whatever you may have thought you needed, whomever you thought you were, whomever you thought you needed, and surrender to God and walk in the beauty and the boldness of His providence. I implore you to take a step back today and just recognize how God has shifted your life, even up until this point. I say that because He has so much more that He wants to do, so much more room that He wants to make in your life, but we have to, at some point, step back and let Him do that work. Dear heart, today is that day. Today is that day where we are going to say no more. Last month we sat in a month of forgiveness, right? We sat in that month of forgiveness so that we could come to today where we're trusting. Where we are trusting that it is okay to let go because God has something greater for us. It is okay to not be where we thought we should be at this time because God has so much greater for us in store. It is okay for us to not really understand or see everything because our God who made us, He is El Roi and He sees all. It is okay. I know the title was a little bit scary. Oh, death. Like, who starts a title with the word death? But sometimes we need to be jolted awake in order for us to see clearly. And that title, this message today on December 5th, is your jolt to wake up, to see things clearly, and to do things differently. Beloved, in these last few days of 2022, what are you leaving here? What are you leaving here, but then what are you going to take with you? Death is not the ending of something. It is the beginning of something new and beautiful. Everything that has ever died in life has created a place for something new and beautiful to come up. And that is what this is. As we lay aside the old us, we are welcoming in the beauty of something that can't even be described. Death to the old me, to the old Michelle Early, means that God's new can come forth. And that this new will be more beautiful than I can even imagine or describe. That's how I'm starting my December. Because that's how I want to end 2022, and that's how I want to start 2023. I want to start it with God's beauty and God's new. Thank you for traveling on this journey with me. Let's go ahead and let's do some work. I try not to make promises, A, because I'm forgetful, but B, because God's just going to do what he wants to do anyway. But there is one thing that I promise you. I promise you today that if you decide to put a death to the old way of life, your old way of thinking, and to step into God's new, I can promise you that it may not be easy, but it will be 100% worth it. Take my hand, beloved. Let's go, let's travel, let's journey together. Let's continue healing, let's continue releasing, let's continue surrendering, and let's continue to trust God through it all, through the good, through the bad, through whatever may happen. Let's continue to trust him. Can we do that together? I hope that we can. That is my prayer for us, that we can travel together. Beloved, I love you so much, and I am so grateful that you choose to spend your Mondays with me. I know, today ran so much longer than I originally intended, but I still love you so much, and I thank you for sticking with me. I love you, beloved. Have a wonderful week, and we'll chat again next week. Be blessed.